All right. Good morning, afternoon, wherever you are, everyone. Hopefully people are seeing and hearing me. It looks like my levels are up and you can see me. And then if I look at the page, it looks like people should be able to see and hear me. We've got a few people in the chat, so welcome to everybody in the chat who's joining us today. So basically, let's kind of go through the basics. We'll give people a few minutes to walk in. So I actually got the title working on the bottom of my screen this week. It's a major technical accomplishment for me today. So as it says, I'm Josh Legard, co-founder of KickoffLabs. If you didn't know, KickoffLabs, we're a tool that helps you generate leads of any type with campaigns based on landing pages, opt-in forms, and email marketing. We've got lots of people who use us for product launches, lots of people use us for their opt-in forms, and a lot of people use us for their contests. For a long time, we've been doing consultations with new paying customers, and we still do that. So if anybody is not currently a customer of Kickoff Labs and you would like to be a paying customer of Kickoff Labs, we can actually go much deeper than we'll go today into your landing page, into your conversion strategy. But for now, today is basically our effort to try and take that advice to a broader audience. It's so much fun to review pages and to get a chance to kind of look at them, give you first impressions, and I think it's really valuable. I mean, every page I do, when you see the page on a new, when you see the page and it gets looked at by somebody else, you get that feedback, and it's just it's super valuable. So hopefully this helps you guys. Of course, you know, as with everything, there's a ton of improvements we could make to every campaign and page. But today, my goal is to get through 10 pages. We've been getting through about 9 per hour the last two review sessions. So we're going to try and cut things off at about 5 minutes per page and focus on the changes I see are sort of the 80% changes that you could make on the landing page. The best part about doing this live is that if people have questions, I'd love to take questions and hear any comments people have from the pages. Feel free to post them through the chat. We did end up getting more pages than we have time to review today. So if you are here, what I would like you to do to make sure that we get to your page, I've got a few that I'm going to start with, and then a few that I want to use at the end for people that are here. Tweet out a link to the webinar with the link to your page saying, hey, you know, I want this reviewed. And so if you can put that on Twitter, it helps us. We'll get you know, some more people joining the chat, joining the webinar, and it helps you because then we'll notice that you're here, you're live, and you want your page reviewed. So like I said, if you want to make sure we get to yours, we'll look at the first few tweets that come up during the first half of the webinar after I go through a few pages, and try and get to those additional pages. And then my final note before we start is that we did have some extra pages last week that we wanted to get to, that we've got some great feedback. Izzy, who works in marketing here at Kickoff Labs, is working on a killer blog post to kind of also go after these pages and give you guys some feedback. And so we'll be posting that along with this video and these teardowns within the next week or so. So. Thanks everybody for attending. Feel free to ask questions, and I'm going to share my screen and start this pretty much right away. All right, so everybody should see. The screen I have shared here, and the page that we're looking at right now is for night food. This is a fun page to look at because they actually sent it to me. It's actually just a screenshot. I can't test it out and try out the form. And the page is in development, so this is a chance to actually get into something before they launch the page. Some of the good things I noticed right away about the page. I love the prominent problem statement up front. Nighttime cravings can ruin your diet. And then to go along with that, I sort of also love this picture of somebody raiding the fridge. I don't know, we've all kind of been this person who's gone in and raided the fridge and raided the fridge at night. So I sort of love the prominent call to action of the that position of that picture and the headline here. I also felt like when I step back from the page, you can really still see this form. Sometimes that's really hard with a dark page to make things stand out. I think they did a good job with the bright white text boxes for your name, and then the try free button. So the other thing that was great about this page is kind of below the fold on the first page. You've got these trust factors sort of as featured in, so you know, okay, this isn't just something somebody's made in their kitchen. It's something that's actually been written about, and hopefully you know at least one of the publications there to get a sense of trust. I also love the other thing that's really good about this page is they're trying to create a sense of urgency. So this act now, supplies are limited, this text of copy of claim your free box of 6 night food bars today does create a sense of urgency, and it's also it's also you know a great deal for people. And so those are the first you know kind of real positives I saw when I looked at this page, and if anything I would amplify those a little bit more as you're finishing the page out. Something that struck me when I look at the text and I kind of take the images away from the page to improve is, although I do love this first headline, I feel like it's missing a follow-up in text that describes what it is, because if you read the next two things your eyes are drawn to, it's special limited time offer, pay $4.95, which is like, well, what am I paying for? It feels a little premature. And then the try night food for free. Okay, so now I finally see this night food thing. I see the image of the night food, but it's perhaps some text that explains how night food is we're a bar that you eat at night that's nutritionally designed to be eaten at that time. And I just feel like it's missing something that explains a bit more about the product, and the top section in general feels very squeezed. When I look at above the fold, there's a lot going on here, and you've got some duplicate text. I love the supplies are limited. I feel like you only need either the orange arrow or this. I also feel like the text for supplies are limited could be below the call to action, so it could be try night food free, supplies are limited. You can still have the privacy statement below here, and then that cuts all of this space out here. Now what would you remove that? What would you use in that space? I would cut out this limited time offer and pay just $4.95 shipping and handling. I would say try the free bar, 6 free bars. That statement about the 6 free bars should be up here, because then that gets to your offer and actually explains what it is. You're saying it's 6 free bars that we're going to send you, and you can say the $4.95 shipping and handling at the bottom of that, because otherwise it feels kind of confusing, like pay just $4.95 and then you say try for free. The other thing to potentially consider when I look at a page like this, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Something that makes it look cluttered is there are 10 different fonts and colors, font styles on this page. It's not 10 different fonts, but it's 10 different font styles on the page, and it just it kind of confuses your brain when you look at it. I think it could be greatly simplified. I also think you could use some of the extra space from cutting some of the copy we talked about to kind of feature the food a little bit more. The box is maybe a little bit too prominent in the image, maybe the bar, so let the food speak for itself. I would expect for something that's giving away food, that I should look at the first part of the page and my mouth should be watering because I'm looking at the food that's on the page. And so if you cut out and simplified some of the text, you could maybe feature some more images of the food that's on the page. And then the last bit, so I kind of go through. I love there's a customer quote pretty prominently. So you can't describe taste on a website, but at least you can have somebody with a real picture saying, I use it, it helps me get back in shape. Like I said, I already went over this image. I do love this image here. I feel like the eating the wrong thing could make it worse. I felt like this image was going to be chocolate cake, and it wasn't. And I feel like you could be just a little bit stronger. I mean, I don't know. When I think about wrong foods to eat at night, I think about raiding the candy drawer, not the Greek yogurt. But maybe that's sort of what you guys are going after. But I think you want to go with the opposite. And then let's see, optimize nighttime nutrition. So these separate page sections are actually really nice. I feel like, and I've mentioned this before, when you get down some scrolling, you should have a secondary button that says get the free, get my free sample, a couple of other times within this page. And so the page that I got kind of cuts off down here, but you could have that free thing in the middle. So I'd say it's best to have it once at the top, once in the middle, and then once at the end of the page that's there. Okay. So are there any questions so far? All right, I don't see any questions. I'm going to go to the next page that I have. All right, so the next page I have up here is the team launch page. There's a lot to like about this page. The background image is a great subtle teaser of what the product is for a launch page. So this is a product that doesn't exist yet. Obviously, I'm guessing it's team launch. And the background image is this nice teaser, but it's not distracting in the way that if this wasn't shaded blue. So the designer, whoever did this, did a great job shading the background blue, making it feel like so your eyes aren't necessarily drawn to it. I'm drawn to it only because I'm pointing it out as it being a subtle, elegant, non-distracting background image that also teases the product. And people ask me on these simple launch pages, are there ways to get across? Are there better ways to get across what we have in terms of features? And this is just one great example of a way that gets across what you're working on. The fonts and colors on the page are kept really simple. I think there's only, between this blue shade, there's three different colors. There's the dark, there's the blue, and then there's the white for the text, which is great. And then obviously the page is responsive, so it'll go down and squeeze down to a mobile browser. And then if I go, one of the other things I liked about it is, so I actually signed up earlier, and I go and I sign up. I like the effect of clearing out the page, and then there's basically a contest here. So they'd love you to spread the word. Top sharers get early access and a chance to win 1 lifetime and 50 yearly subscriptions. So they actually thought through what happens after you sign up to get somebody to share, and it's a good deal. So you can assume then it kind of gets across the message. Eventually, this will be a paid product, but you also are getting people, giving people an incentive to click one of these the sharing links. I mean, obviously, you're tracking the share links and of who's sharing and what the results are. For the page. And then I also got, I didn't save it, I got a follow-up email from this that reinforced the message. And it's really important that when you have this message on the page, sometimes people will submit their email and kind of walk away and not read this. That's why it's really important to reiterate this message in the follow-up email. And so the follow-up email I got reiterated almost exactly this message that described what the offer was. If I had some suggestions of things to improve on the page, I felt kind of the biggest thing is this the copy here being the word submit. I always tell people try and think of something else, like it says join the beta list. Maybe it should say join beta or just join, or go or turbocharge. something that goes more along with your copy and what your product does, and have some more fun with the button instead of just using the word submit. The other thing I would do is, I hate messing with such a clean design, but if there was a complementary third color introduced on the page, it would be on this button. So could you make this some sort of complementary orange to really make the center stand out here? And then the other thing is, this copy is great. It says team features, project management, and invoicing, online payments, planning. I felt like there needed to be a little something, this tagline of turbocharge your studio, there needed to be like a sub-tagline here that said, you know, an online tool for managing your studio, or managing your projects, or managing, describe who it's for. So an online, you know, a set of online tools for any design studio or design agency, something that's explained who it's for, because I think clearly you're after a specific segment. I can't quite figure out what you mean by studio. Like, is this for design studios or development studios, or but I think if you made that a little clearer in either an extra word or two here or a sub-headline, I don't think it takes away from the page, and I actually think it'll entice people more, because it'll feel like, oh, it really is for me, versus not for me. And then the last thing, this incentive of join the beta list, I would actually say the incentive should be get the beta, or join the beta, because nobody wants to join a list, but maybe they want to join the beta. There just needs to be a little bit of a hint of an incentive up front to join, besides just being on somebody's list. And that'd be the last thing I would go after. Here. Okay, so then the next page, having my list. So let's go with the PracticeHea. So Sam, I think, is here in the chat, or at least he should be here, and wanted some feedback on his page. I'm actually signed up, so let me actually refresh the page. So I'm not signed up anymore. So one of the things I would say that struck me about the page, because I've seen this page a bunch, is I do love the copy right up front that has the problem statement. Do you struggle to motivate your students to practice? I feel like what's missing for these two statements. So the first two things I see, or the first three things I see, is this statement, because it's the top left. Do you struggle to motivate your students? The second statement being sign up for a free beta version, but I don't know beta of what. And then I see this video. If you play the video, it's a great video. It explains the product. It explains what they're doing. I feel like this copy for what PracticeHea is could be above the video. You'll still see the video on the first page, and if that copy was there, the page might flow, do you struggle? Enter PracticeHea, a quick explanation of what it is in text, the video, and then maybe you're ready to say, okay, sign up to get in on the beta version of the page. Just needs a little something to tie the flow, the visitor flow of the page. If you think about visitors starting on the top left and then coming down following the mouse cursor on the page, what they see, I think that would flow a little more. I also think the video being down just a hair lower is going to get people's eyes on the form, on this big call to action button here. And then this is good copy, so get the beta free. I like that because it's incentive and it's the message. So you want people to join the beta, and you're saying that there's a free beta version, which A, implies it's going to be a paid product later, which is good because you do want people thinking that. And then B, that your incentive is you want to join this because it's going to be free for a while. And so that's good incentive to have. Going down the page, some of the copy, what our future beta users are saying, I would take out the word future because it makes it sound like these are made up. Like, what are the future beta users going to be saying? And I'm assuming that these are actually what real users are saying about the product. So it's what our beta users are saying, not our future beta users are saying. Anything that takes away trust of the statements or things on the page is something you should look at, removing or changing. It's hard to do for pre-release products, I understand, but when I scroll down the page, you've got this section basically talks about features of the product. And one of the things that was a little bit jarring when I was going through this section is all of the images are a different size as you go through, and I feel like the page would look a lot cleaner if the images were all the same, scaled to the same size on the page. I know it's hard when you've got something in development and you're trying to perfect screenshots, but just something that makes the page feel a little bit more conducive for that. The other thing I noticed once you sign up, I don't know if many people fill out the comments. It's not required, but if you're only getting 1 out of 10 comments, I would simply just ask for feedback in the email and drop the comment request here, so the form's a little shorter. And then when I saved it, it's the default. It's a default set of text. Share the link and get credit. I would have some incentives, so like the last page we looked at that had like a contest or a membership, just something that gives people incentive to use these sharing links, because you're sort of saying that with share this link to influence others and get credit, but you're not really giving them any incentive to, and I think that would be really helpful to give people incentive for sharing. Let's see, are there any questions? Do people scroll? So I love the question from Ran. It says, do people scroll in landing pages? We've had a lot of debate about it, and that's one I get asked a lot. So what I say is, design the top of the page on the assumption. There's a great example coming up later in these reviews. Design the top of the page with the assumption that people are not going to scroll, but expect that they will. And I know that's really confusing. And what I mean by that is the top of the page should be engaging and get across the point of the page and the goal without the user having to scroll. But people will scroll up and down pages, and you can install a tool like Crazy Egg that does heat map tracking to look at it. And there are also design elements on pages that will prevent them from scrolling. So I might just skip to this page really quickly, and I'll go into more of this page later, but this is an example where it looks like I'm done. And so on this page, I worry that people just wouldn't scroll because you can't really tell that there's something, the way this page is designed, to fit in the browser. Here, there's no arrow, there's no read more, there's no sort of indication that you could scroll, and I think it would stop people from scrolling. Horizontal lines that go across and cut off the page completely also prevent people from scrolling on the page. And so I think a lot of it depends on the design, and it's obviously meant to be measuring. And so when you talk about this page, yeah, if you scroll, you can scroll, and you'll see other things. But like I said, it's so cut off, you might not think to scroll on the page. That was skipping a little bit ahead. I wanted to get to another page here. So let's look at the Wine Awesome contest. Go back to the top here. And so this page is a contest page. I actually had to get through an age gate the first time I came through here. It looks like they set the cookie, so when I came back, I didn't have to go through the age gate. I guess being sponsored to win wine, you have to be a certain age and enter the contest. You had to be at least 18 or 21. And so it was good that it remembered when I came back to the page that I didn't have to, that if I saw the contest multiple times and the third time I decided to enter after I clicked it, it remembered the age gate, so that was good. The background, this text and the background work really well, where the text is really readable on top of the background image, and then where there's people that would obscure the text, there's this black border here which makes the enter to win text really readable as well. This headline really stands out. I feel like you can say it twice. Wine Awesomeness presents the ultimate Miami experience. I feel like it needs to say win, like something that implies you're entering a contest in the headline, like win the ultimate Miami experience. I know that sort of does away with the Wine Awesomeness Presents, but it needs something up front should imply that it's something you can win. The page is not responsive, and so that's something you can look at doing, especially if you're promoting via email or via social networks. People are going to be going to the page on a mobile browser, and what's the experience going to be like for them on a mobile browser? This first row of images has nothing to do with what you want to get people to do, and I think you could cut them because they're also duplicated right below here. And I think below here is the perfect place for the sponsors. And you would actually see it, at least in my browser, on the first page if you cut this bar away at the top and you got to the text. And that way your eyes are drawn to this headline and not like my eyes were initially drawn to this freehand thing. And then I put my mouse over it and I realized it was a link, and then it would take me away from the page and lower the conversion rate. The other thing is that the form is very subdued off to the side. You've got, people's eyes are going to be drawn sort of down the page to where the people are in the pool here, but you want them to be drawn to this enter button. The button could also probably say you've got room to say enter to win. That would also imply it's a contest and that you're entering something to win something else. And I feel like that would really help. That would really help in this case. The rest of the page, this date is on the second page, could be moved up higher. I feel like it needs to be right below the enter to win, like enter by. You need to create that incentive. So like we saw earlier, having that motivator if there's limited supplies right next to the button is going to be a really strong motivator to get in. And I would say I would put that because it's July 30th. It's coming up right around the corner. You need to do this by July 30th. Enter to win by July 30th, right below the button in this space, because that's really important copy that's just missing on the page. The rest of the copy on the page, I look through. There's these images. There's Freehand Miami. There's the Wine Awesomeness. There's this black card. And I'm not sure how those relate to the contest, other than I know that they're the sponsors, but maybe I actually have a section that says sponsored by or prizes from, and use these images to explain what the prize you're getting is as you go down the page. So you do the summary of the prizes here, you have motivation to enter over here, and then as you scroll down, you should maybe summarize what the prizes are with this extra space on the page. Because this is just sort of explaining who the sponsors are, not what the sponsors are giving to the contest or what you could win. And so if you're going to have extra copy and extra images, make it related to the top. And so as people are scrolling, they're like, oh, I do want to win that. I will click this enter now. That takes me back to the top and start entering my name to get to look at it. Okay, and looking for any questions. So from a guest, when capturing information, is it better to have fewer fields people need to fill out, just email, versus more fields, name, email, company, products of interest, so you capture more information? I love this question because it's one that gets asked. It's one that gets asked a lot. And let me. It's one that gets asked a lot, and I would really okay, there we are. I want to tell people that when they're choosing how much information to capture on the form, I look at it and say, how are you going to use that information? And my rule is, if you're not going to use that information immediately in a way that benefits the person that's signing up, then I wouldn't ask for it. So name, for example, is an easy win, because if you're going to use the name in an auto response email or in emails when you follow up with the person later, then the name is a really great thing to have. The form that I was just showing, the Miami experience, asked for just first name, email. They're required to ask for date of birth, I think, because of the way the contest is, And so that information is needed. And they ask one poll question, which I think is nice and subtle to get away with. Your wine preference, red, white, sparkling, or rosé. My assumption is they're doing a little bit of research based on that, but that all the fields are something that's going to be used. I see pages all the time that ask for a combination of occupation, your role, your zip code that you live in, and I feel like, and they don't use that information in any way that benefits me as the person filling it out, and it also feels lazy. And what I mean by that is, if somebody wanted to reach out to me and find out what my occupation was, they could do it with just my email address. So if you want to learn what somebody's occupation is, typically you can look up somebody on the internet with their email address, and then it doesn't feel lazy to get. Quick plug for KickoffLabs, we actually go out and pull a bunch of that information, including people's LinkedIn profiles, when somebody enters their email address. And so we help you make shorter forms because we pull that information, and it's kind of this complementary information that goes with the sign up, so that you don't have to ask and create a longer form. So my rule of thumb is ask for information that is immediately valuable and going to be put to use by either the person filling out the form or that you are going to use for some reason because it's required or because you need it to do something else or take your next step. If you just want to ask people a bunch of poll questions, send that to people after the fact. So if you get them engaged to sign up, then you can follow up with a poll that asks some more detailed questions in a medium that's more intended to ask a bunch of questions. So with that, we'll go back to the landing pages. All right, so let's go to the, let's see, white space, so the white space TV page. This is that page where I said I wanted to point out, because the question was asked about, do people scroll or not scroll? For better or worse, this has an incredibly clean look. And the headline is easy to read: social, television, for your city. I'm not sure why for is bolded. I would think it'd be for your city, because that's the benefit, is it's for your city as opposed to for, as in terms of the why the bolding is. What's really missing here right away is a call to action to either learn more or sign up. And I think that you lose a lot of people on this page that just see it and walk away. It's responsive, but if you'll notice when I do this, the top of the page is just blank. And so when I looked at this on my phone, it was kind of similar. The top of the page is this image, and so I'm never going to scroll anywhere when I get to it from my phone on this page. So I did dig a lot to figure out what this page was about. And as you scroll, there's a lot of effort on these like parallax effects where the background moves and the text stays the same. I honestly think it's maybe I'm old. I think it's a waste of time and design resources because it's not helping the person read the page. Same thing. This really dark gray text on a black page is more difficult to read than it needs to be. This doesn't have to be shiny bright, but you could bring up the text a few shades for all of the copy on this page. So it wasn't until I got to this headline that I understood what the page was about, and I feel like that's missing from the top of the page is we're broadcasting direct from your community. So the top of the page can still be clean if you had broadcast direct from your community there, and I think that would tie in better to what it is, which is a broadcast platform that creates channels with a schedule that you can be on. Now, what did they want for the call to action? I still had to scroll. Finally, I get this sign up button in the middle of the page, and I click it, and there's a nifty form that pops up. All they ask is for my name and my email, and there's not, like, I don't know what I'm signing up for. Am I signing up to view it, to be a viewer? Am I signing up to be a broadcaster? You need to make that clear on the page what you're signing up for and what somebody's getting on the page. As you keep going, if the same thing with the dark text. And it's cute. You've got these buttons that call out cities that you're launching in, but it doesn't say these are our launch communities or something like this is where we'll be, launching first. And so I click Seattle, being from Seattle, and then I get a different form, which is different than the other one that doesn't ask for name, So it's sort of suspect. You're like launching soon, so proud to be a part of this city launch. You could have done it in the main form, just asking, which launch city am I closest to on the main form that's there. And so, there's a lot that I've improved. And then there's a third form down here that I saw, and the call to action is send. There's this blank Google Map thing here. It feels like a little bit of missing information. The biggest things about this page, though, is there needs to be a bit more of an explanation here what it is, and there needs to be a call to action, one or two. One to read more and learn more, and the other to get involved, start broadcasting, something that's a call to action that's related to the service itself. The other thing I noticed is it took me a minute, and I realized this is a not automatically playing slideshow. This text should have been on the main page without having to hit a slide, like your broadcast and direct community, promote your business. I might have never clicked here, like broadcast live events, get on the air. All these are benefits that are really hidden because it doesn't play automatically, and I wouldn't advise it to play a slideshow automatically here, and you have to know to click here, but then that takes away, should I be clicking here or scrolling down? And honestly, I would just optimize for people scrolling down instead of sliding across that way. All right. So any other questions? So I think the question is, would that require them to be logged into Facebook or LinkedIn for what we do? No. For public profiles, we get a good information on about 50% of the signups that come through, whether you're logged in or not to those services. So you don't have to be logged in via those services. We just get the email. And then let's see. All right. So going on to the next page. So endlessly fit with Gary. So there's a lot to like about this page. So it's really clean looking page. It is responsive. I first clicked on it on my phone. It looked great. The headline still stood out when I went on a mobile device and looked at it. And the other thing about it is that it tells a story. So it starts with a problem statement. Or question at least, would you add 12.5 years to your life if it only took 72 minutes a week? And I think the answer would be yes for most people. So right away, the headline gets people to say yes. You're like, okay, yes. So there's a bit about psychology, whereas the sooner you get people saying yes and agreeing to things, the more likely they are to say yes down the road for everything. The copy on this page it's a long form sales copy page, is great. I mean, I won't spend the time reading it, but just kind of give you the highlights. You've got like I said, it tells a story, so it's a personal story about Gary. Gary tells a story about how he almost died, and then it was time how that caused him to take action, and this, especially in the fitness space, is a really powerful motivator. When you start seeing these stories, when you see real stories, it makes people feel like it's possible as you go through. The thing that always gets me when I see a page that's this long, and I think you can have the page that's this long. I think you never know which piece of copy is going to convince somebody to want to sign up, and so I think somewhere within this first headline there needs to be like a call to action button to either buy now or join the email list. Somewhere as you scroll down a bit more, a second option to do it that goes with the primary call to action. And you can get to the primary call to action way down here. So it's a buy now form. So you could take this text and say, yes, I'm in. So you've got somebody agreeing with this question. Right up here you could say, yes, I'm in below the picture because your eyes are drawn to the picture. Count me in, and it would take me down to here to see it, and I would still see the rest of the story because I'd see that the page scrolled past a lot, and I can go back up. And when it's something to buy, people are going to scroll up and down on the page and read the headline. So that's the other thing that's good about this page is you can scroll and get a sense of the story from the headlines. So you could say, I almost died, wake up call, arm wrestling champion. It didn't matter. All came crumbling down. I defied the odds. You can read the headlines and kind of know what and kind of know what's going on the page, which is really good. The other thing that I really recommend for this page is whenever you're just asking on a sales page for somebody to buy, this is exactly the situation where I would have a secondary call to action. So I might not be interested in buying, but I might be interested in learning more or getting health tips or hearing the 5 additional tips that helped Gary. And there needs to be a secondary call to action. It could be a pop-up form on the side. It could be one of those things that pops up with it's called exit intent when you go to leave the page. I think you just need to capture people that are leaving because no matter, this could be $1. Whenever you've got enter your credit card, you're going to lose a ton of people that you don't need to be losing when you could be at least starting a relationship with them and saying, get my PDF on these 5 exercises you could do tomorrow morning for more energy. And that is probably the biggest thing, aside from the additional call to actions, that I would change on this page. Is saying, is having a way for people to connect even if they're not purchasing, and then you can work those people to purchase. You give them the tips, you add them to your mailing list, you give them additional information, and you get them to purchase down the road. Is what I would recommend for this page. All right, I don't see any additional questions. So actually, yeah, I don't see any additional questions. So I'm going to move on to the next page here. All right, so let's go to Rocket Cloud. So the Rocket Cloud page, Rocket Cloud. I'm so used to clouds. I think there's a lot of space on this top of the page devoted to the stock photo here. If it's not stock photo, you can call me out and say it's not stock photo, but it looks like a stock photograph, and that's immediately what my eyes are drawn to. The positive about that, at least though, is people are kind of looking down on the laptop, which then does bring your eyes to this free sign me up button. The problem with this is I feel like it's a little bit out of order because your eyes go Rocket Cloud, picture, button, free sign me up, what for? And people don't have time to figure out the answers to those questions. An easy change would be flipping the text in the image and the direction people are facing, obviously, if the image is mirrored on the other side. This is, because then it would say Rocket Cloud, this is your kind of crowd, explanation text, free sign up, and then the image would be pointing down to the button or looking at the text, as the case may be. And so that would be the first thing that I would do. I would also this early adopters rule text, and then you've got this launching soon. I don't think you need the launching soon here. I feel like early adopters rule should be in this place. So if this text said early adopters rule, that becomes your tagline space, and I actually think it'll get called out a lot more if that's your tagline. It'll get noticed more. And so then let's talk about the rest of the copy. So the text, this is your kind of crowd. I'm not convinced of that yet. It feels a little premature, like saying we're best friends and we just met, because you haven't explained the problem of what you're going after here. So basically, the issue is, Rocket Cloud is a platform for early adopters to influence startups and innovative companies and groundbreaking products. Basically, I want to say, do you like to influence new things? If you start with the problem statement around that influence, like, make your mark on new products, you're giving me an opportunity, not just saying you're part of this crowd. It's a great tagline, but it doesn't explain what it does, and it doesn't explain the opportunity for people. And I think the opportunity you want to get across is that power that people have to shape and to influence, because that's really what you're selling on this page. And if you got that across in the headline and in the copy here, I'd be a lot more inclined to sign up. This text of the incentive is buried when it's in another paragraph. It should almost be below the sign up button here, like free sign up incentive. Like, why should I sign up besides just the fact that it's free? Should be, I want to be among the first 1,000. And so to the side or below that button there. If I click the sign up button, the form is on the same page, which is great, and just takes me to the form. This is where I wonder again, is this really needed? Occupation, job title, industry, do you need both of these on the page? Do you need first name and last name? So it's great to that question. And then you're asking me how many LinkedIn connections do I have? So this is where I said earlier, if you were using KickoffLabs, we could show you that information for you. You wouldn't have to ask for it. But if you are going to ask, it feels a little, why are you asking for this? You could ask for my LinkedIn profile link, and you could look for it yourself. I feel like you're making the person do work. I go to LinkedIn every 2 weeks, and I accept connections. I couldn't tell you how many LinkedIn connections I have. I don't know if I'm 1 to 100 or 251 plus. I might, and it's required. I have to take a guess before I register. The form doesn't have the incentive here, so I feel like that incentive that's buried in the paragraph could be right here on the side in terms of the incentive to fill it out. And then this copy, it feels really, really wordy. Like, I would say, startups need input and validation. They connect with members on Rocket Cloud. You give them feedback because you're a member of Rocket Cloud. They get success, you get rewarded. Like, this could all be said simpler in one sentence instead of the longer sentence that's here in a way. And I feel like it could be, in that way, it could be said simpler. There are multiple call to actions. You almost wonder if these are too close because I'm seeing right here, free sign me up, free sign me up. Do you need both of those when now there's 3 on the same screen? So this might be going a little bit too far the other direction on the page. And then this copy is where I feel like it should have been higher on the page. And so how members benefit could almost be above in this section of how it works, because you're explaining how it works, but you're not explaining why I should join enough near the top. And this explains why you should join. A chance to try out products, a chance to influence, a chance to network with other founders and teams, and build a reputation. That could be up higher on the page. And the same with this quote. I love putting quotes. We've tested forms with quotes closer to them. I think it could actually be, you've got all this space here or on the right-hand side. It could surround the form. You could have this kind of text with incentive up here, and then your quote here. Instead of this confidential information could be right below the button or down here on the page. You don't need it on the page, but then the quote would be right next to the form with the image. So you have the guy looking at you with his quote about how great it is, and then you've got your sign up button there of things you could do. So to kind of summarize, I would switch the location of just the layout. I would get rid of this text and replace it with a problem statement like influence new startups, or influence companies, or don't you want to influence something that incentivizes them in terms of the benefit. Explain the benefit here. Take this incentive, put it underneath the button somewhere, and then swap this section to get to the benefit sooner, the how it works second, and the quote next to the form over here. And again, you can have some fun with this copy. Instead of saying register, you can say, wield my influence, or get influence, or just something that goes along. Have some fun with the copy on the button in this case. So let's see. So then another question from Rand. Thank you for asking questions. What is better, a testimonial in the first page or a link to the testimonials? I love a testimonial on the first page that also links to additional testimonials. And so having just at least one testimonial on the page is going to help. And then the second then you can say like, learn more about, what people are doing, or, read other customer testimonials. I think that becomes the most powerful. I think if you flood the page with too many testimonials, it starts to look a little forced. But it's also hard to find room for everything on the page that you should have. Let's see. Going back, I don't see other questions. So we've got a few minutes left, and so let's see what page. Is anybody else here on the chat that I haven't reviewed? I haven't reviewed a page. So let me go look at. All right. Sorry, I'm just looking for the pages. All right. So the Geek Rush people posted that they updated and made some changes to the site. I'd love to take a look at the changes from what I made last time, and maybe we can do a post with the before and the after that we have. Awesome. Let's see. I don't have the before, but I'll pull this up into look at the page. I think this is some really good changes here. I think if anybody was here before, Geek Rush had a lengthier page. They had a much longer page that I don't think was necessarily needed for what they were doing, and I think they were trying to get the benefits out first and explain what it was. And I think this does it exactly it. And so it's a lot easier to tell what the service is about right away, because Geek Rush, your eyes are drawn to the logo, and then you read down a unified solution for your fraternal affairs, interact with fellow Greeks, promote chapter events, maintain your finances, recruit new members. And I think right there you get a sense of what's going on, where I think that was the biggest thing that was lacking before, is actually knowing what you got out of it. And then over here, the sign up firm want to access our features pre-launch. Now there's incentive to sign up, which is great. Select chapters who are interested in qualified. Select chapters who are interested in qualified. Oh, select chapters who are interested in qualified may have the opportunity for early access. I would just say we'll select a few. Make it say we're selecting limited, because you're almost saying who are qualified. Well, maybe I'm not qualified, so I shouldn't fill out the form. And I would make it more of, we're going to select, the best chapters, because I know there's a lot of competition between chapters and fraternities of like which one's better and why you should join it. I think you want to play that up potentially in the form here, where you're saying select people who are interested, are gonna, we're gonna choose the best ones for early access. And then you're saying apply, which is fine, which is good there. You could have, I think this text, there should be something. I think the text that was below here, a little bit of a privacy statement, like we're not going to spam you, or let them know what's going to happen next. We'll contact the people that are interested. We won't spam people that we're not. Just some safety text below there, below that form for people. And now you get into some more features things. Be smart, be safe, be social. And this is great changes from the copy that was there last time. So be smart, update your chapter with innovative technology, be safe, collect payments on a simple, secure platform, protect your chapter's assets, be social, recruit new members. To me, I'm not sure what the primary benefit is. I would always lead with the primary. Is the primary benefit the payment collection, the social features, or the innovative technology? I feel like anybody could say innovative technology. That shouldn't be your primary benefit. And so that's the kind of the one that doesn't stand out to the others, to these two. streamlining outdated functions, being smarter, that might be a benefit. I would say these two tell a stronger story, so maybe they go first and then this one goes last, or you find a better statement than innovative technology. Because this, right below here kind of speaks a little bit to it, like, manage your chapter with technology you use, or something like, we're always on the go, like that statement could be up here, like maybe it's, we're on the go, or, technology, like as you need it, or manage on the go. This just doesn't necessarily fit with the other two as clear benefits, although when you see this image, it does, because you're clearly implying there's going to be an app or a mobile experience that's going to help me manage my chapter. And then Greeks are always on the go. Our mobile app stays up to date on events, chat in groups, or register for recruitment. And so then if I click Get, that goes right up to the form, which is great. So I see the form again. And so that's a great placement of a secondary button. So you've scrolled, you've read this, and now you're at the bottom of the page. I can't scroll any further, and there's a clear call to action when you're sitting on the bottom of the page. And so that actually works really well on this page. Let's see. Thanks, Izzy, for posting the link to the what the page looked like before, because we actually did have that blogged, and so I should have mentioned that was on our blog. I will give 2 cents and remind me to save. That is in the blog post that Izzy is working on. I appreciate you coming and asking questions, and so we'll go and give missing the R. Spend the last couple minutes here on the remind me to save. This page. It clearly gets across what you want to be, what you're doing, because I described this to a couple of friends. So it was a service that I took away from the page without talking to you before about what it was. I described it to some friends about what you could do, and they said, "Wow, that's genius." When can I call and tell my my cable company I want to pay less money or I'm going to leave? Which is sort of the sense I got. I'm not sure if that's exactly it, but that's one of the things I got. That you're going to keep track of my contracts. You're going to let me know when I need to renew the promotion and the discount, and then it's free. And never let a contract expire or price hike scope again. So remind me to save right in the headline and the name. It gets across the point of the service. You've got these follow links up here. They are subtle, but I think you're better off just moving these links up, the blog, the how does it work, and the login up in that space. I doubt anybody uses these links. And if nobody's going to use those links, I would use them for things that they're going to provide more value to customers right away, which is the blog, the description of how it works, and then your login for existing customers. I would put these towards the bottom of the page. The problem statement, are you paying more than $80 a month? The $80 stands out in bold to your cable provider. We keep track of your contracts and subscription renewals and alert you with promotions, discount rate, and you've got a 1-minute long video, which I won't play because I think it'll look weird on the webinar. The thing that stuck out to me was the call to action feels a little buried, because I'm not sure if you want people to connect. This is probably the same action, the connect using Facebook or the sign up. The sign up is definitely subdued because it's the same green that's everywhere throughout. It's not a standout color that you have. And then the connect using Facebook does stand out, although I wonder, do more people choose one or the other on the page? And so maybe you're here, you can answer questions. We see people coming to the page and leaving after a few seconds. Why? It's very typical. I could ask them, what do you see for your conversion rate? And I'll wait for the answer and kind of say one more thing about the page. I don't know why you're asking me to comment here. I don't think this has a value. I actually think you're better off taking this how does it work information, which is behind a wall here. And now I don't know how, I guess I click here. Just having it on the page, you're hiding it on the page, this information here. It's not actually a second page. You're actually just hiding it. Should be on the page. So get rid of this social thing. use this for longer copy, the how does it work, where you've got these sections here that explains what you're doing, and actually put it on the main page here. I don't know that you get any benefit out of this, but I know people will stay longer if you've got more content to read. I don't know whether that'll get them to sign up at a higher rate, but I know that it'll certainly increase people's attention on the page, because right now, yeah, I get here, not quite clear what you want me to do because this could be louder, and then if I didn't get it right at first, I've got no other information, and this link is really not catchy, like how does it work? And this information could just be right on that main page below the fold. It could be right here below this line, and you've got never let a contract subscription prices hike on you again. And then how? Well, let me tell you. It's 100% free. It's automated savings. Like, we don't require personal data. You sign up, you add your subscriptions, you save money, and by the way, we'll have a mobile app. I think that would work better, and it doesn't require a ton of changes on the page. So if you're getting, and the 20%, it sounds like the conversion rate is 20%, which is not bad. You know, an average should probably be for something like this, should probably be about 20 to 25%. So it's not bad, despite the fact I think there's a lot of improvements you could make. Are you seeing those people engaged after they sign up, or are people just clicking the Facebook button? Because that's kind of the next question on the time to go. That is the top of the hour. I want to be mindful of people's time that are still on it. We can follow up more about the page later. It is in the blog post that Izzy's working on. I'm sure Izzy has additional things to say about it. But that'd be my biggest advice: is make the call to action stand out more. Take this how it works and put it on the front page instead of burying it in a hidden link that hides the content. Because now, once I click here, there's actually no sign up button anymore. So even if I do click over here, there's nowhere for me to sign up. I've got to remember to click back to the home page and then sign up. And I think those little changes, you can get another 5 to 10% out of the conversion rate that you have there, and probably more engaged people based on your last comment, because they'll understand what they're getting into more. So that's it for the landing page reviews today. I appreciate everybody that submitted it, that took the time to come and ask questions. All of this stuff is going to get posted online. There'll be a recap sent out. Pages that were submitted that weren't reviewed are going to get reviews. We're going to post them to our blog. We just have a little bit of a backlog right now to get to the pages. If you found it useful, drop us a note. Let other people know. My last call to action is, as always, if you are not a KickoffLabs customer, it is our goal to make these campaigns better for you. So we have obviously a do-it-yourself landing page campaign builder you can use, but one of the things we really pride ourselves on is spending time with people. So if you upgrade, we can actually spend a lot more time in depth looking at your page, helping you with your strategy around it. We do it for everybody that upgrades to a premium account or more with our service. So you can create a better landing page. You can get those social referrals. You can get that automatic LinkedIn information. You can find out the ages of people that sign up. You can add your developers, designers. I could go on and on. I love our service. I know we can help a lot of you. So sign up and let me know what you think, and drop your 2 cents on our pages that you've got. And thanks for coming, and we'll do another chat in 2 weeks, and we'll let you know what that is. Thanks.